you're here to find some underappreciated shows or maybe hear me praise a few old favorites, you've come to the right place. This is Restless in Peace, and today we're spotlighting Land of the Lustrous. I'm Fennec, and I've been an anime fan for almost a decade and have watched hundreds of shows. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with friends. If you haven't read up to chapter 93 of Land of the Lustrous, spoilers ahead. Land of the Lustrous is about the Gems, a race of humanoid sentient beings made out of materials such as jade, diamond, or other gems, as they fight to protect their homeland against the Lunarians, which is another humanoid race which, as the name suggests, lives on the moon. Today I want to talk about the character Cinnabar, and specifically the impossible promise that Foss made to him but could never fulfill, why Cinnabar is the driving force of the story, as well as how the story will progress now that he isn't the driving force of the story. The impossible promise that Foss made was, I'm going to find a job that is way more fun than the night patrols that only you can do. Now when Foss says fun, in this context at least, means to Cinnabar something that would enable him to be together with the other gems without harming them. And that would be more enjoyable than the Night Watch. And this fun is what makes this promise impossible. Finding something only Cinnabar can do shouldn't be too hard considering their entire society consists of less than 30 individuals. But that fun is a real zinger. Foss made this promise without having any idea on what Cinnabar's idea of fun is, and this caused some misunderstandings. In Foss's head, what he needs to do is simply get her another job, and as long as it's in the presence of other gems, all is good. But what Cinnabar actually wants is the love and acceptance of his fellow gems, so if Foss doesn't know what the end goal is, how is he even supposed to get there? This misunderstanding that makes this an impossible promise is also why Cinnabar is the driving force of the series. Foss is our protagonist, and we follow him as he does what he does. And what do you know? In order to do things, you need motivation. Without at least some motivation to do something, you're not gonna do much of anything. And that's why Cinnabar is the driving force. If you notice, when Foss notes the things he needs to do, he always has finding Cinnabar a job on that list. I think that Cinnabar's main role in the story is to be a never-ending source of motivation for Foss, which is very important because we have already seen what it looks like when Foss is left to his own devices in Chapter 1, and it's not very productive. But ever since he made his promise to Cinnabar, Foss hasn't let up. Even after horrible things like Antrak being abducted by the Lunarians have happened, this promise is what gave Foss a continued sense of purpose. In general, having and lacking purpose is a very prominent theme in Land of the Lustrous. This constant stream of motivational energy that functions as some kind of backup generator for Foss to fall back on is, in my opinion, the main reason why Foss simply kept doing stuff, which in turn happens to progress the plot. Cinnabar is rarely Foss's main motivation at any given moment, but it's always there, and that's what's important. And because it's always there, Foss has developed somewhat of a dependency on it, and it's because of this dependency that I classify Cinnabar as such a driving force in the series. Now is the time to answer the final question of how the story will progress, now that she isn't the driving force of the story. And this takes making a lot of predictions on my part, because it's only been a few chapters since Foss and Cinnabar's fight, in which Cinnabar essentially releases Foss from his promise, implying that it's been fulfilled. Well, I think that Land of the Lustrous is actually pretty far from over. There are just too many holes in the story. Well, the main one is probably that now that we are aware that the ice floes are actually an intelligent entity due to the Lunarian prince talking about possible negotiations with them that they would have initiated, I just have to wonder what they're gonna do with Foss's arms. I know that there is a theory out there where people think that somewhere in the world a second Foss is being built, but I'm not so sure about that. Let me know if you want me to make a future episode on the topic, talking about that theory in general. But what I think is going to happen is that no one will turn to nothingness and that Adamant will stop functioning completely. After this happens, when the fighting settles down, I think that Foss having no more motivation will shut down and isolate himself for a long time. And that in that time, the Gems and the Lunarians will learn to coexist. Then, one day, Foss will run into a descendant of the slug she previously gave a piece of herself to, and that slug will lead her to some kind of information about the ice flows that talks about either turning to nothingness or becoming human, or them being an immediate danger to the Gems and Lunarians. This information will compel Foss to return to her brethren and start a new arc in the series. That's my general thoughts about how things are gonna progress, because I just can't see Land of the Lustrous ending as it is now. There are just too many things not settled, too much information that we don't have. On the one hand, they can finish the entire series in the next few chapters, but I think there is so much more that they can do and explore. It's just very unlikely to end soon. Especially with the fact that we get one chapter a month. Finally, I do recommend you read this manga if you haven't, and please notify me through the comment section below if you're on YouTube, or through my website if you're from one of the podcast platforms, where you can access the website in the show notes below. Tell me what you think about this episode. Did you like it, or did you not like it? Would you like more episodes like it, or just comment whatever you want. Please like, subscribe, and share with friends. It helps a lot, and I greatly appreciate it.